Okay, welcome to the stream, ladies and gents, where it is chaos today in Europe. I'm not in the studio, as you can see, so you'll need to turn up your volume for today's video if you're used to watching me in the studio where the volume is pretty high. So we're going to talk about everything happening throughout Europe today. It is just insane what is going on, not only from all the protests, millions of people, this is Europe-wide, there's just been so many protests, and some of them have got pretty heated. I don't usually show you these videos. I'm going to show you the videos. I don't usually show these videos on a live stream because then the video gets demonetized. So yeah, just make sure you I don't know, well, it's going to get demonetized anyway, so it doesn't matter, but let's show you the videos of what's going on then. Here we go. This is what's happening today in Paris. We'll start with. Police completely overwhelmed here. Look at that. This is just crazy. Oh, the smoke's going off now as well. These police are getting pummeled, absolutely pummeled. Really are. I mean, these protests are non-stop. Here we go. A bit lower volume on this one. So they're estimating it's somewhere between 600 and 900,000 people on the streets. This is Paris predominantly here, all of this taking place. We also have, here we go. This footage isn't as clear as the others, but the police here are really going hard on these people, as you can see. Even some of the media guys actually got it. What's this one? Okay, this was when the police charged the protesters. I'm not sure why they charged this group here, but they really went after this group pretty hard. Now, there was one other, where is it? Okay, yeah, this was, so if you want to know what's actually happening then, I'm going to go through all the info in a second, but there was massive disruption to public transport, trains, buses, tram drivers, hospital staff. 9 out of 10 pharmacies were closed as pharmacists protested the policies. 1 out of 6 teachers at primary and secondary school went on strike, as well as school canteen staff, monitors, high schools. There was 250 demonstrations in cities from Paris to Marseille, Nantes, Lyon, Montpellier. So this has been an absolutely enormous protest that's happening here. And I'll say one thing for the French: they really know how to protest. And it's an interesting one because I was watching the interviews that were going on from the left and the right, and the only thing they focused, we'll talk about the left stuff in a second, but the only thing they focused on with the right was how they were all far right, fascists, racist, anti this, anti that. And it was quite funny because they had these 3 girls, and they were teenagers, and they were just really, you could see they were French, well-raised girls, and they said, "Oh, why are you here protesting?" "Oh, well, we just feel that there's too many migrants coming into, illegal migrants these are, coming into the country, and they're not contributing, and our systems are at capacity, and all we're really saying is we think there should be less people." And the reporter just went on them, "That's racist, that's this, that's that." I'm thinking, oh wow, they're even doing it in France, they're doing it everywhere. And these 3 girls were pretty eloquent, I would say, in what they were going on about. Now, in terms of the left then, usually when it's some people on the very far left, I almost never agree with anything they said, but they did say a couple of things that I thought, that makes sense why people are on the streets and protesting. Now, whether I think there should be this massive, what they wanted, this socialist thing is, I'm not going to go that far. No thank you to socialism and communism. But some of the things they were saying, I can see this getting people behind it. And this was massive wealth redistribution. And they wanted, you see, if they just go out there and they say, there's all these billionaires, and the billionaires have got 90% of the money, or whatever it is in France. If they go out there and say, we just need to redistribute some of this, you could see them getting some room, right? But because they're sort of extreme on the left, they come out with the most ridiculous things. And they started saying on camera, we need to redistribute the wealth of everyone. Everyone's wealth needs to be redistributed. There needs to be a clean slate. And I'm thinking, you don't understand how money works, guys. You just lost all credibility because you don't understand how money and economics works. That means redistributing everyone's money. It would never work, and that's why socialism never works. So let's give you a bit more info of what's happening then. So this, again, we're focusing predominantly on France first. So a lot of this took place yesterday, but it's continued on to today. And this was against the 2026 budget, and it was called Block Everything. So this actually started on the 10th of September. We had the collapse of the French government, but the unions in France are very powerful. So this is your CGT, CFDT, and a few others. They actually mobilize all the public sector workers. This is teachers, transport, health. They mobilized hundreds of thousands of people. They said it was only 1 million, but they said it was 1 million, but the French government said it was 600 to 900,000. So what are they protesting? It's the new Prime Minister's budget reforms. So they've won so far, that the French have won so far in getting some of the budget reforms scaled back. So that's been useful, that's helped. But it was really only just the 2 public holidays. So who's actually protesting then? Public sector just closed everything down. And this was teachers, education staff, health workers, so some hospital staff, pharmacies, civil servants, municipal employees, transport, this is the railway networks, urban transit staff as well. Or the energy sector. Yeah, they actually closed down the energy sector, believe it or not, or they were protesting. This was your electricity, your gas, factory, industrial. I think there was even a nuclear reactor, it said somewhere, that they had to force the staff to come back because of something that was going on there. I mean, you can't believe that, really. Service sector, this was banking, finance employees, admin, telecom, postal, students and youth. I think they probably caused the most disruption, actually, students and youth. Don't underestimate them at the moment, because look what happened in Nepal. They completely, you sort of Gen Z or Gen Z, they completely overthrew the government. The Nepalese government couldn't believe it. They were in such shock that they hadn't even planned any evacuation routes or anything. They had to be lifted out by helicopter, truly. So there was a couple other things I wanted to mention on this. Yeah, so one of the people said as well, there are more and more working poor, people who have jobs who can't afford rent and are sleeping in their cars. They said it's absolutely exploding. Now, I want to move on to another thing that's happening today in Europe. And this is where we're seeing a lot more talk. Thank you for the super chat there. Appreciate that. We're seeing a lot more talk about war. And I really don't get what Russia is trying. Well, I kind of do get what Russia is trying to do, actually. But what has just been announced is NATO has confirmed it intercepted 3 Russian fighter jets over Estonia. The EU has called it a dangerous provocation, and they want to accelerate things now. Okay, the Estonian government then said the incident involved 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets that flew over the Gulf of Finland for a total of 12 minutes without permission. The foreign minister said Russia had already violated Estonian airspace 4 times this year, which is unacceptable in itself, but today's violation, during which 3 fighter jets entered our airspace, is brazen. He says then they're testing the borders and aggressiveness must be responded to in kind with pressure. And there's no, I was hoping they'd have a video or something. Hold on, is this? No, they haven't even got a video of it. So there's no pictures, there's no video. You've just got to take their word for it. So 3 Italian F-35s were sent out to repel them, which they said they did. So they repelled these. But let me know in the comments. I am sort of glancing at the comments as we go along. But let me know what you think about that. I think this is crazy. Do you think it is Russia testing the airspace in Europe? I mean, you've had these 3 fighter jets today. You had 3 of the Shahad drones just the other day. You then had the 12 that breached Poland's border just last week. It's very interesting what's taking place. Let me know in the comments. Okay, we got someone here from France. Wolves in France. He said, tune in from France here. Yeah, let us know how it's going there. We'd be very interested to know how the protests are going over there in France. Now, another one, and I'll just show you the headline of this so you can see this is legitimate. EU membership, a form of security guarantee, the parliament chief tells Zelensky. This is just what is going on. Okay, we got to talk about this a little bit. So they're really pushing, this is the EU, they're pushing now for the accession of Ukraine into Europe. They said that if Ukraine becomes part of the EU, this would give them more security guarantees and more backup against Russian aggression. I don't really think it would at all. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. I just don't see how them becoming part of the EU would somehow stop this war or stop Russia and Ukraine being in a war. I don't see it in any way at all. What exactly is Ukraine going to bring to the European Union? That's the big question here. It will bring war. That's what it will bring. Now, does the EU want war? I think they do because of how their economy is crippled. I think they know it. And because of that, they want to, as I mentioned, 2 years ago now, I said you're going to see certain countries becoming this military powerhouse, not industrial. Germany literally ruined their own country, their own economy. They threw away this incredible industrial base that they had. They just ruined it, destroyed it with the energy sanctions. And they didn't even have all their renewables set up so that they could actually handle the energy coming from the renewables. It's not, the infrastructure's not there. Same with the UK, same with a lot of the other countries. It's getting on board, but it's very, very slow. So I've said this for 2 years now that I think Germany is going to rearm and become this big powerhouse. And now Macron has just put out a statement. We've got a lot going on with Macron and Paris at the minute. It's incredible to me that he's still in power. You look at everything going on. He is the cause of a lot of this. He really is. They just need to get rid of him, get him out of power, have someone else replace him in power. We'll talk about his wife at the end as well. If you've seen this story, try not to laugh too much. We've got to talk about this at the end of the stream. And by the way, if you're not getting my newsletter, it just helps you to get to the heart of this week's economic news in less than 15 minutes a week. So if you're not on my newsletter, make sure to get that, because a lot of time people say they don't know, I didn't know about this, I didn't know what was going on, I didn't know where you were. It's because you're not getting my newsletter. It's completely free, so you'll find the link below. Macron, we'll get back to Macron in a minute. They said that they see EU membership as a form of security guarantee that they want to offer Ukraine. They said the only thing stopping this at the moment is Hungary. So Viktor Orban is blocking it, but he's the only one that's blocking it. And they say once they remove his block, that they'll be able to integrate Ukraine into the European Union. Did you know about this? Did you know that they were planning this, bringing Ukraine into the EU? And I think I saw some proposals around it as well, and some notes, and a few people were saying, well, it's because there's so many Ukrainian refugees now throughout Europe that this would allow them to stay, because they did some sort of, one of these survey polls, and almost none of them wanted to return to Ukraine at this point. Well, it's still in war, so why would you want to? But if you look at the box around after the war, still a lot of them didn't want to return because they got better opportunities in Europe. So I think that's another reason for it. Trump obviously met with Starmer as well this week, and you can see a kind of shift with Trump. And what I noticed the shift was he's very upset with Putin. Very upset, and I think he feels as though Putin's made him look like a fool on the international stage by making promises to him and then not delivering on them. And Trump tried to strong-arm Putin like he did with the EU and all the other countries. But you've got to remember that you've got this strong leader, in this strong man, as it were, in Trump, against a strong man with Putin. And it just doesn't work like that. You can do that with Ursula, you can do it with Starmer, you can do it with all these other people, but you can't really do that sort of stuff with Putin. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does now. We just had as well the biggest, this is Britain's biggest arms show of all time. They declared it the biggest one yet. More than 60,000 visitors attended over 4 days. Around 1,700 exhibitors took stands. 42% were new to the show. Again, the reason I show you these things, people say, why does Neil sometimes show these articles? It tells you what is going to happen. Britain is rearming. They're building up their defense industry big time. France, though, wants to block. So Macron has just proposed a ceiling on UK components in the defence fund. He said that they're going to be getting so much of the money, and it's not for them, it's for France, it's for Germany, and some of the others. So he wants to put a block or a limit on the amount that the UK can get from this defence fund. So that tells you, again, it's nothing to do with defense and deterrence of Russia and all this. Why would they try and block all the weapons? It doesn't make any sense, does it? It's not what they're saying. It's because they want the money from it. The EU Commission as well has just approved new Russian sanctions. This made me laugh. It's the 19th wave of sanctions. 19th. Well, look, if the first 18 didn't work, I don't know what the 19th wave is going to do. It's more energy sanctions. Drop in the comments what you think about this. Okay, right, here we go. Macron. Here's the article. Here we go. Let me put it on screen a second here. Macron's to offer scientific evidence to US court to prove his wife is actually a woman, the lawyers say. Now, hold on, I'm going to show you this bit. They're going to be providing photographic and scientific evidence in court to prove that she is a woman and not a man, as has been claimed. Now, I've read this in detail. There's a lot of reports on this, and I've got to say, it did make me laugh. I was trying my hardest to read this seriously, but it did make me laugh. Right, let's think of this logically. If you're a woman, right, and you want to prove you're a woman, what would you do? I would just go to the doctor and say, doctor, please give me a medical certificate, examine me, and prove I'm a woman. Done. No, what they're going to be presenting is photographic evidence of her pregnant. So a photograph of her pregnant, and photos of her with the baby. Sorry, did I hear that right? Why would you not just go and do this medical report? Why are they saying they're going to get all this photo evidence and use scientific evidence? Just go and get a report from the doctor. Go and see a doctor, get it over and done with. Right, I think you all know what I'm thinking here. I think you know what I'm thinking. Anyway, thanks for being online. Thanks, really appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. God bless.